I kind of I cry, I cry on stage sometimes because I'm not really on that stage. I'm in the place, like as we're singing it, I'm so connected to the words. All right, hey, my name is Tommy Vext, and I'm the lead singer of the Bad Wolves. Top 3 records. Oh, it's such a hard question. Oh, there's so many. The 90s were kind of like a real staple period for me, and I think 1994's Far Beyond Driven by Pantera was a huge influence on me, and I think Korn's debut record, self-titled debut record, these are records that like really made me want to become a singer and be in a band. Top 3, I guess my third would be, it's hard, it's like a toss-up between Anima from Tool and White Pony from the Deftones, because that's really where those 2 records are where I was really interested in actually learning how to sing. I'd already been in hardcore bands and I'd already learned screaming, and I really those artists and those records really were like showed me the value of infusing melody with aggressive rock and melodic rock. So I have 4, sorry. Right now, I don't know, this new artist that I'm listening to. Let me look at my phone real quick. I've been listening to the new Ginger record. Marco is the new record by Ginger, check it out. And I've been hitting that on the workout circuit a lot. So I've been listening to that. I've actually been listening to Whitechapel, Our Endless War, which just came out in 2014. So it's not a new record, but I didn't really heavily get into Whitechapel till recently, actually. And so that's like more stuff that I've been lifting to and working out to. And then, oddly enough, the new Korn record, I know Korn again, The Nothing, which is like most of the album, from what I understand, is Jonathan's experience with his late wife passing, which I believe she passed away from a drug overdose. And so it's like this really tragic kind of autobiographical experience, which I think Korn has always been really good about pouring their experience and their pain into their music. And this is just, for me and somebody who I've had those relationships, and I've had family members and have family members and have been in relationships with people who were abusing drugs and alcohol, and it didn't end well for them. It really resonates with me. So that's like a really strong record for me right now.
Be water, my friend, like that. You see?
I see.
Top 3 inspiring people. I mean, they're not people that you would know. Yeah, I mean, like I've been sober for 11 years, so there's like a lot of guys who are, anonymous that are really help guide me. These people are all like my father figures and my brothers and my uncles, and there's just like kind of a group of guys that I hang out with back at home that are all part of recovery, and they have their various jobs. Some of them are famous actors, some of them are lawyers, some of them are musicians, but yeah, I don't really feel the need to name. I'm not gonna name drop, but yeah, they know. Yeah. Of our own songs, oh man, I think No Messiah off the new record Nation is one of my favorite songs. It kind of seems to have all the things I like in it. It's got like a Korn vibe and a Pantera vibe and a Faith No More vibe, and it's just very well rounded, and it's mid-tempo, and it's a really interesting song. Before the band took off, I was a sober coach. And my job was like, I lived with celebrities, and from actors to pop stars to athletes, and I helped them stay sober through their first 30 to 60 days of sobriety. And a lot of these people were like really, really famous, and they were kind of really shitty. They had like these really shitty attitudes, and like one of my clients had like Christ complex. He thought he was like God, and he couldn't get sober because he was so arrogant. And I had 2 clients like that, and I didn't understand, how someone could get to that place and believe that. And the lesson that I learned in helping those 2 guys was what not to be. And so, sometimes as a band, we get to stand in front of, 100,000 people and play these shows, and it's just a lot of energy, and there's a lot of power. It's a very powerful experience, but I think some people get it twisted and they believe that everyone is there to serve them. And because I've watched that happen to those guys, it reminds me that as an artist, we're here to serve the people. It's not the other way around. I think a lot of institutions like government forget about that, especially in the United States. So that's No Messiah is a really important song for me, and we play it first because it's like it sets the tone that I'm immediately coming out. And even though we're performing, it's like a constant reminder that I'm just we're all human beings and that we're all equal. And that's a really important song to me. I don't know, the other songs some of them is just songs that go over well live. Like we just started playing Sober, which is a very personal song to me. And that song talks about the family disease of alcoholism and drug addiction. Traditionally, a lot of my favorite artists that had drug addiction and alcohol problems, they sing about their own pain and suffering, but they leave out all the people who love them that are affected by them self-destructing. And I've been the person who was self-destructing, and I've been the person on the outside loving someone who was self-destructing. So it was important for me to tell the whole story in a song, and I think we did a really good job with the music video too. And so the fans are really reacting to it, and I feel like it's helping people, and that's important to me. And then I guess, I don't know, I think probably, Zombie is not our song. We didn't write it. So it's like, it would seem like it's the obvious thing, but Zombie is another, again, it's like about us being of service, So I don't consider it our song. I consider us like as a tribute. So I think the other song of ours that is very emotional to me is probably Remember When, which is off the debut album. And that talks about my relationship with my twin brother, and how our lives went different directions. And I wound up getting into music and getting sober, and he stayed doing drugs and, being involved in criminal activity. And eventually he tried to kill me in 2010, and I had to testify against him, and just all the stuff that happened from that, going through all that trauma and letting go, going up on stage every night, and having the crowd sing this song back to me, it really, it helps me heal. And so I cry on stage sometimes because I'm not really on that stage. I'm in the place, like as we're singing it, I'm so connected to the words, and there's a lot of healing. And like at the end of it, it's like the people help me forgive and move forward. And so that's like a really beautiful experience. So, yeah. Yeah, I mean, well, I'm super into training. I have like my girlfriend is a celebrity personal trainer. I have a personal trainer. I work out at Gold's, which is like where all the bodybuilders go. It's like Arnold Schwarzenegger still works out there, and you'll go in there and like Jean-Claude Van Damme is there, and Dolph Lundgren, well, they're older now, but it's just like they're just legendary, and then all the modern bodybuilders are like Jay Cutler and all those guys. They all just that's where people work out. And it's like that gym has a real culture. That's like the only thing I really love about LA is like that little corner in Venice where all the people who are like humble and working on themselves and working on their athleticism, that's where that is. But other activities, honestly, like I'm pretty boring. I'm actually like really boring. I don't really, I'm not really, like when I'm home, I conserve a lot of energy, and I use that time to either, catch up on Netflix, read books. I'm like, I actually just wrote a biography on the last break. It took about two sections of us having downtime, and I go into the studio and I record. Like, I don't ever stop recording. So I have material for the third record. I mean, I had material for the third record before we released the second record. When we go home, I just go to work. You know, that's like where I'm most. I just like to be productive. I need to be. It makes me happy, and you know, I'm a very emotional person. I'm an acutely self-aware and acutely emotional person. So I need to like constantly put my feelings into some kind of creative project to keep me sane. Because if I sit around not doing much for too long, I just like kind of like bubble up and like, you know, I feel like I'm not doing anything. The books that I like are more of like self-help books and psychoanalytical, you know, psychology and spiritual stuff, you know, like I'm always like reading The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, you know, or New Earth, and Dr. Bradshaw wrote this book called not the Language of Living Ago, I'm sorry, Toxic Shame. And so I like, it's a lot of the stuff that, and I like get the books and I also download them too. So I can listen to them like if I'm at the gym or when we're on tour, and I have nothing to do. Because it really helps. I'm someone I'm in recovery, but I've also been through a lot of trauma, and I really like to kind of dissect and connect the dots of how, you know, childhood trauma is turned into adult behavioral patterns and how to disseminate those and like, you know, work through them so that I can live like a kind of normal, happy life, you know? But yeah, so that's what I'm gonna do. You know what's my favorite food out here is those little pancakes, not crepes. There's like baby pancakes, and they have them all in. Well, they have them in Germany. They have them in. I forgot what they're called. They're in like Norway and Sweden, and like they're just like little bitty pancakes, and they're fucking perfect. They're like a crepe, but they're smaller. And I don't know, I just fucking love them. I just put syrup on it and a little bit of butter, and they're good just by themselves. But yeah, that's a weird thing that I like. I don't know, I have like favorite restaurants. You know, I think Beauty in Essex is one of my favorite restaurants. It's actually owned by Chef Chris Santos from the Food Network, who's a really good friend of mine. I actually used to work for him. And they have their menus amazing. I'm trying to think. I like pizza, but like I don't like anywhere pizza because I'm from New York. So there's like specific, you know, there's like La Villa Pizza in Brooklyn, which is like, or L&B's, and then there's Luminati's in Chicago with the deep dish pizza. Yeah, so I don't know. I guess pizza, pancakes, nothing healthy. My girlfriend makes me eat salad all the time. I have to eat healthy, but I don't like it. You know what I mean? I'm not like super excited about eating healthy. That kind of food I look at as fuel for training or for the show. But like when I have a cheat day, I really like cheat day. You know, I like burritos, like all kinds of crap. Top 3 places. I really love Australia. I spent a lot of time in Australia. I dated an Australian woman, and then we toured there, and I toured there with my old bands, and I really fell in love with the country a long time ago, and so it's just a great vibe, you know. On this tour, I've been to Paris probably like 8 or 9 times, but for some reason on this tour, my girlfriend came with me, and she had never been before, and it was kind of like a really magical experience. It's interesting because it's such a romantic city, and how American women have romanticized. So as a guy to go there, you're like, oh, this is cool. You know, I like to submerge myself in art and culture and food, but to be there with someone that I'm in a relationship with that I love and have a new experience, I definitely had a new found understanding and experience for the city of love and which it is. So that was a really cool experience. And then I don't know, other places. What would be the third place? It's tough. I've been so many places, you know. No, I live in Los Angeles and I hate it. I don't like Los Angeles at all. It's filled with traffic and assholes, and it's everyone is fake. Yeah, you find. I mean, there's a lot of good people, but it's like you have to really navigate to find them, and it's just kind of really like, yeah, it's just not. No, that's a hard no. And I've been living there for 14 years, and I'm getting ready to move, so no. But yeah, and I guess New York City. You know, I'm from New York. I grew up in Brooklyn. I lived in Manhattan for a time, you know, and I just think like the weather isn't the greatest, but the people are great. It's kind of like exactly the opposite of LA. You know, New York City is like the people are just really hardworking, really like solid core values. You know, you can trust people. Everyone's working together, and it's just like no time for bullshit. You know, the city has a pulse, and it has it has an aliveness to it. You know, it has a beat, and there's just always something to do. It's never a dull moment. So, yeah, I guess New York, that's my real home.